All right, guys, we've got this huge Arctic blast just pulling in a lot of cold air across the eastern and central United States. This will continue for the next several days, and I would argue maybe even for the next week or so as this strong northwest flow really sets up and continues to stick around. And we're also looking at the potential for some snow as we head into Wednesday and Thursday into the northeast. And we are watching next week for something. Maybe. It's definitely cold across the eastern United States, and it's going to stay that way. And by the way, a lot of folks chiming in across the Great Lakes as we've seen this Arctic air moving through, just dropping feet and feet of snow, not just downwind of Lake Erie and Ontario, but folks here in the UP of Michigan also chiming in saying they're getting a lot of snow too. Not as cold across the west, though. I mean, look at this. Your cold air really slipping down here east of the Rockies. So as we head through today, into tomorrow and Tuesday and Wednesday, this cold starts to relax some, but more cold air dropping in from the northwest as we keep this really chilly weather pattern around. And then things get pretty complicated heading into next week. And this right here will be the culprit that we're going to talk about today, because we're going to see this persistent northwest flow, these pieces of energy that are dropping in within this broad northwest cyclonic flow as an upper low spins here across the Hudson Bay. That's a very cold weather pattern setting up for the first part of December across the east. And by the way, the new monthly temperature outlook forecast just dropped from the Climate Prediction Center. No surprises here, really, in the eastern United States, below average, but across the west, warmer than average. And I want to tell you something. It's weighted toward the beginning of the month's pattern that we're seeing. Way below average here across the east and northeast, with above average temperatures across the southwest. But I think there's going to be a flip as we head toward the middle and end of the month. And you can kind of see that in their 3 to 4 week outlook, too, which is December 14th through the 27th, with pretty much above normal temperatures across the central and eastern United States, also the Pacific Northwest, which is an interesting change. I would think we'd be below normal here with a trough if I had to guess, but that's just me. But let's continue in the short term. The lake effect snow machine will continue here downwind of all of the Great Lakes. And in fact, we're going to start to see more of a northerly flow that will bring winds down Lake Michigan, also off of the southern side and southeast side of Lake Erie, Ontario, Huron, Superior. That's going to change the lake effect snow trajectories. So snow may fall in places where we've not seen much snow. A very weak system dropping in here from Minnesota, Iowa, heading into Illinois and Indiana, Kentucky, and Tennessee, heading into Monday afternoon. Maybe a few flakes flying into parts of Nashville to Knoxville, into the higher elevations of the southern Appalachians, I should say. And is this going to be strong enough to jump the mountains to get a little bit of snow into the Piedmont of North Carolina heading into early Tuesday morning? Maybe our first flakes here into parts of the Tar Heel State. We will see about that. Cold Arctic high pressure building into the south. This is going to set up for a pretty cold night Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning. We're probably going to see more freezing temperatures here. Return flow on the backside of this high, bringing moisture into Texas. That's going to make it kind of damp, a little dreary at times, and this Gulf moisture is trying to connect with what's going on up here to the north. I don't think it's going to happen with our system on Wednesday. That's going to be a clipper system bringing some rain and some snow. And I did say rain because it's going to be warm enough on the southern side and the southwest side as some return flow develops here for rain mixing in with the snow. Maybe even along parts of the lakes here with some marginal temperatures. Once the low moves by and the front blows through, now temperatures start to cool down. Northwest flow to westerly flow kicks in, and the snow showers pick up again and the snow bands off of the Great Lakes. High pressure building in for the weekend, and we start to see our next decent chance of some rain and snow across the Pacific Northwest heading into next weekend, and our northwest flow continues with more lake effect here. Now, this is where things get really interesting heading into next week, and I'm going to tell you, I have no idea what's going to happen here. This has been all over the place. We're also talking about day 8, day 9. Feeling more solid about next weekend. It looks like this energy that's back here across the southwest is not going to connect with what's going on here into the northeast. More on that in just a second. Let's go with the short term, though. I talked about that light snow event that's dropping in from the northwest across the Tennessee Valley. Again, very little, if any, snow here. And I told you there's some question. Do we get the flakes east of the mountains? Doesn't look super likely at this point. There's where the heavy snow will be through Monday, at least off of the lakes. We start to see it shift, though, as we head into Sunday night. That would be tonight into early Monday morning. Maybe getting some snow now into Rochester. Most of the snow has been into Watertown, and you need a breather here. I mean, we've had multiple feet. But I think the snow is going to continue here near Dunkirk over to Jamestown, here to northwest PA. With that northwest flow, we could see another 1 to 2 feet in the favored snowbelt areas. To the north, into the UP of Michigan, across the western UP, some snow here, but the heaviest looks to be across the central UP, dropping in toward Traverse City. This is an interesting setup because now you've got water here, you've got Lake Michigan here to the south, and this band that could set up crossing both lakes. So now we've got the potential to pick up quite a bit of moisture, dropping it here into Michigan. And look how our flow starts to change heading into Monday and Monday night. Now we're developing a long stretch of flow off of Lake Michigan that could push some heavy snow into places like South Bend, into northern parts of Indiana, and here into the far southwest corner of Michigan. We've not really seen that yet. Most of our flow's been off of the west to the northwest. Now with that northerly flow, that could put a dump of snow here into northern parts of Indiana. Let's go long term. We'll pick it back up where we were heading into the weekend. There's that weak event that's moving through the northeast that's going to put some snow down. It's a modest system, I guess. I don't want to call it a snowstorm because it's not really a big storm, but it could put down a couple of inches here and more lake effect behind that. That's why your pinks are showing up there with more than a foot probably going to be happening. Now, I showed you the European solution heading into next week. This is the GFS. It has consistently been colder. There's our system Thursday into Friday, Arctic high pressure building in. And now we're watching this moisture that's lurking here across the Gulf. Another system starting to drop in from the northwest. It doesn't connect here. That would just bring some rain and some snow showers. Yesterday, the GFS was trying to combine this system with this energy that's back here over the southwest. I think we've been pretty consistent over the last couple of runs to see that not happening. This right here is the European from today, keeping that energy here and your trough here, not connecting them. The GFS on board with that idea for Saturday. So my confidence yesterday was super low. I'm feeling a little more confident today that we're probably not going to see this massive storm that skirts through the mid-Atlantic now, because you're seeing more agreement run to run to run, which gives you an idea that we're probably just going to be looking at more of a clipper type system again next week. And then as we head into Monday and Tuesday, this is where things get wild and a little interesting. This is where we might see what we call maybe a southern slider system that could potentially bring some snow into the Tennessee Valley, into parts of Virginia. Does it get into North Carolina? Again, I don't believe anything here on this operational run. That's all this is one run. If I take you back to last night's GFS run, it has the storm still, and it shows some phasing, clearly different areas getting snow. I'm not so interested in where the snow is falling at this point. My question is, will there be a storm? We'll worry about the snow later. The 10th, the 11th, the 12th looks like a time frame to watch. And then this is where things get interesting heading into the middle part of the month as we start to see more of a zonal flow, really cold up here. All it takes is a little bit of energy to move through, a lot of baroclinicity, that's the temperature differences, and boom, you start to see some storms form. We shall see. Bundle up, stay warm, and I'll see you next time.